My name is Conchita Putin. I am a retired registered mental nurse trained in the UK way back in the 70s.
Hello, Manong George here. Welcome to our channel. And today we have a very special guest.
Name is Avril. My nickname is Wendy, Avril Putin Watan. I am the child, a second generation Filipino migrant, child of migrants who came to the UK 51 years ago to serve in the NHS. So my mother is a nurse, retired NHS staff nurse. Her name is Conchita Putin.
I now live in the Philippines, enjoying the best of both worlds, returning to the UK during the summer months and spending the winter months in the Philippines.
Mom knows best.
My mum had the choice when she was 19 years old when she came to the UK in October 1971. And at the time she had the choice to decide on whether to train in Canada, Australia or the UK, and she chose the UK. And the offer from the NHS at the time was to train as a nurse and to qualify as a nurse in the UK. So that's the route that she took, to train and qualify as a nurse in the UK. She came as a trainee. She specialised straight away into mental health. That was the hospital that was really needing the support at the time.
Mom knows best.
Incredibly difficult for my mum. I mean, I can't even imagine. Now we've got diversity training and we've got inclusiveness training and we've got, highlight on BAME experience. There was none of that in 1971. She was with a cohort of Filipino nurses. I think there was probably about 15 of them who came on the same journey with her at the time. They were in a hospital. Majority were Irish and Black Caribbean and Black African nurses at the time. The Filipino was the minority still. The racism, the overt racism that she experienced was she became numb to it. I think it became normal to her. She explains stories that she recounts some stories now, and I'm like, God, that is awful. That's racist. That's, this is terrible. I can't believe you were verbally abused in that way. And, you think about it now. I mean, at the time, she completely, it was something that they just got on with. It was part of the job. If you complained, you wouldn't want to complain because you were just grateful to be in this country, to be training and to be learning, is what she said. But she would tell me stories about, it wouldn't be racism particularly from her superiors, from the nurses themselves. It would be racism from the patients. So at the time, majority of her patients were white English patients, because she was in the UK, she was in Essex or in South London at the time, training with all of the patients were majority white and English. And they would say things, monkey, go back to your country. They'd call her names that she wasn't even, mum was Filipino. They'd call her Paki, think that was awful things that they would just say. But as I said, my mum she recounts these stories as if it was just normal. It was matter of fact, she says it in a matter of fact way. It was normal. That's what we did. That's what happened to all of us. It was normal. We got on with it. We were here to work. We were grateful to have a job. We were grateful to be employed by the NHS. We were thankful. So yeah, that was her experience. That was her experience in the 70s.
Mom knows best.
My mom was, I look back on her now, she was quite the entrepreneur. I mean, she continued to work in the NHS while she started her residential home. Yes, it could never she says this now, and I agree with her now. There was no way she could have done this kind of model now, because residential care and care homes are regulated to the hilt. Similarly, in the NHS, you know, there's so much requirement on you as you nurses as a profession, that there's no way she could have been able to do both, I think. But at the time, there was an opening. So in 1985, I was 7 years old at the time. At the time, it was a Conservative government, and they were moving away from institutionalized mental health care, from big, you know, mental health homes, hospitals. They were moving all of the patients there into the community. They called it the care in the community. And there was an opening there where they were moving all of these patients into community homes. So they didn't call them care homes at the time. They called them, they were board and lodging schemes, where they placed patients into homes with people that were either qualified in mental health or, yeah, these were all qualified mental health practitioners. So my mum and other colleagues like her, who were already working in Calabria Hospital, had properties, rooms in their properties, that they would then allow patients from hospitals to come and live in the home. So it was a very, very early scheme called the Board and Lodging Care in the Community scheme. My mum started with 3 residents at the time, and she then expanded from the 3 residents. She bought another property next door to us, and she moved our residents into there, and she just grew. We grew by buying. She bought properties next to each other and just filled those properties with residents. And she was able to receive them in our home, look after them in the home. At the same time, she still kept her job as a staff nurse, a night staff nurse in the hospital with the NHS. So she'd work at nights and work in days. But she had a big support system. She had a family, you know, she had her sisters and my dad, who did support my mum's, you know, business ventures at the time. So yeah, she was almost like a one-man show, but she had a massive support system that helped her at that time to have the business at home and also continue her work with the NHS, which she continued until, she retired about 10 years ago with the NHS.
Mom knows best.
And, you know, when I was younger, I saw how hard my mum worked. And I always said to myself, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to work like that. I'm never going to work 2 jobs. I'm never going to, never, right? My mum was saying she's going to retire from the UK. And she said to my sister and myself, you know, I'm going to sell everything. I'm going to sell the business. I'm going to sell the properties. You know, your dad and I were going to the Philippines now. This is it. And that was the epiphany moment for me when she said she was leaving and she was going to sell the business. She never forced me to take it over. My mum just gave us the choice. Look, this is up to you. I'm going to sell it if you don't want it. It's completely up to you. And, you know, I had to have make a big decision with my husband, who was in the States at the time, and we made plans to stay in the States. But, you know, we were given this opportunity to have our own business. And I said to my husband, you know, let's try. That's the only thing we can do is try, you know, 3 years. Let's see how it goes. Running the care home, see how it goes, see if it works for us, and give it 3 years. And we've been here for 10 years. We haven't looked back since. We've just been going and going. And I realize now that I've been able to have so much more work-life balance in the business that I'm working, in the family business. But not only that, find a real purpose in the work that I'm doing today. I know I'm a registered care home manager, but it's a small care home where I can interact with my residents every day and the staff every day. I get to see my residents and interact with them every day. I get to, you know, to be involved in their care, have a, you know, hands-on approach in their care, and just, I just, you know, really, really enjoying what I'm doing. I wouldn't be doing it. I still wouldn't be doing it if I didn't, you know.
Mom knows best.
That's my other side. That's the other hats that I wear. So I'm a church warden in a local church, a Church of England, Anglican church actually. And really active in community organising. So community organizing is working with others in civic society. So that's other schools, other churches, other mosques, other institutions, education, non-education charities, for the common good. So we work in an alliance of other, institutions and we work for issues that we identify with and we care about. So we look for affordable housing, we care about youth safety, we care about undocumented migrants, living wage for all. There are certain key themes that we all care about that we come together and we organize on. So
Mom knows best.
Hard decision for her to really go back home and spend more. So it's because of my dad, really. So my dad, from the moment that he arrived in the UK, so my dad was a lawyer in the Philippines, and he only came to the UK in the 70s because of me. And he'd always said, I'm only here until you and your sister finish school and get married, and I'm back in the Philippines. He always said that from the youngest moment I remember him as a child. He always said, I'm only here for you and your sister. As soon as you're old enough, as soon as you finish school, you must finish university, you must be married, and then I'll go home. And he always said that. So, my dad's dream was always to be in the Philippines. My mum's dream, however, she was quite happy here in the UK. She loves the UK, in fact. She's got her business here, she's got her children, her grandchildren here. The only reason why I think she decided in the end, she goes back and forth. So she's here for a few months and then she goes back to the Philippines. She's here for a few months and she goes back to the Philippines. But she would have been very, very happy to have stayed in the UK.
Mom knows best.
She taught me the value of hard work, perseverance and resilience. I knew that her work was incredibly difficult. I knew her work was incredibly taxing. I knew the hours that she did, 3 nights on the row, 4 nights on the row. I knew that it was incredible what she did. But she never complained about the work. She taught me never to complain about work, but just to always look for the best in everything and do everything because of a good heart, because that's what you want to do. Don't do something because it's not what you want to do. So she loved nursing. She loved serving. She loved, caring for people. That was in her. So she, just why she could do those. She could do the job that she did and do it so well for so many years, and open up the care home and still provide that care for others in that way too.
Mom knows best.
I just want to thank my mother for, her sacrifice, having come to the UK and building a life with my dad here and creating the opportunities that are now I'm benefiting and my family are benefiting from. I mean, had she not have taken the steps that she did and continued on that path and persevered and never given up, we would never be enjoying the benefit of all of that sacrifice now. We wouldn't be in this privileged position to be holding a business in this way. So I'm entirely grateful to my mom and to thank her.
Always remember, Manong knows.
Mom knows best, put your worries to rest.